Okay, we're back after a little break. We're back on the floor. I think we left off.
Yeah, so we were discussing the northwest corner of the state. And so what I did is I grabbed and had printed our groupings with CISA border overlay map to kind of help describe what we're talking about. And I think one thing we will talk specifically about is Milton.
Yep.
Yeah, we're going to try to do our best to keep various maps organized and straight here. Classes. Okay. So again, just relating to grouping the islands with Franklin County, between testimony plus the members who we had on our committee who represent that area, their concern was that there's just no land between the two and you have to drive down through Milton anyway. If you look on this map, we have Grand Isle grouped for sort of merger study with Milton and Colchester. And so you see the seesaw line kind of diving down there. I'm not sure that that's what we intended, even though I'm sure we said that, and maybe we did, but it would probably clear things up to have that line go straight across, which would put Milton, Colchester, and the islands all together in a grouping, and put Milton into the CISA with all of those as well.
So like from where it says group 20 to the green dot below Bellows Free, like that would be a line.
The line right at the bottom of the green would become a CISA boundary, which puts Milton, frankly, with the same merger study grouping that we have. And again, this comes with the grouping conversation as well. It's really about nothing but geography and the fact that the vast majority of people in the islands go south for CTE, for high school, for all of that.
Yeah, I'll agree with that because all our services we receive now at Milton are from the Chittenden County area and not breaking up the Seesaw district going north or going south and then the merger district going north.
So I guess to make it more of a formal proposal, it would be to go to the CISA boundary line for the house in that area with the adjustment that puts Milton in with Colchester.
I think on your construct, it's the
Chittenden Central.
Chittenden Central, yeah.
And then what about for the merger groupings? Where is
Well,
it?
I just wanted to do the CISA part first, but then start that number.
Okay.
Things. There's a fair bit more for the merger groupings issues.
You have other seesaws?
That's it. No, that's the only thing where we were any different.
And I can't speak to the Grand Isle part. I would imagine it's almost split maybe, like that upper northern portion of Grand Isle heading over to, the Missisquoi Valley area.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. We sort of just decided to keep it clean from an SU boundary point of view as well. I guess what you'll see if you start talking about the groupings is that we didn't want to break up SUs when it came to merger discussions. All right, so that is a proposal on the table for the CISA. If we can answer now or not, if you guys want to talk about that, that's fine too. The groupings, probably the biggest difference is that you have fewer than we do. Period. But maybe we should just talk about that area one more time within the discussion of groupings. Again, we would suggest that the groupings fit with the House proposal, again, strictly because of where the lake is and where the bridges are and where things flow, and keeping the rather than sort of against splitting up Alberg, even though I know they switch over, but they are part of the Grand Isle Supervisory Union.
Yeah, and just going back from what I've heard from my areas is that a lot of those services that they do contract with is in that group 13, the Colchester, Essex, Westford, Milton School District versus the islands, Milton, just the islands in Milton. More of our work is done with the Chittenden County for services wise, so lining that back up. And I don't know where that means the islands fall, but if you look up page 28, group 13 would be, as the Senate side is Colchester, Essex, Westford, and Milton as that group. And then in the House's version, it'd be group 20, which is the islands, Albert, and Milton. 28, page 28.
Our group 20 is, the islands, Milton and Colchester.
Yep.
And you're saying,
But Colchester, Essex, Westford, Milton is more naturally where it falls.
can we agree though that the islands should probably be grouped with the Chittenden County folks rather than the Franklin County folks? Since that's where they, again, I would say it is, first of all, yeah, it falls within the same CISA. Second, that's where the kids go to high school. Third, that's where the kids go to CTE.
So you're talking about for the grouping islands with Chittenden County.
Yeah, and whether we stick to our grouping or your grouping, we can put a pin in if we like at this point.
Yeah, let's put a pin in it, but yeah, okay, got it.
Wait, so your group 20 is Alberg, Champlain Islands, Colchester, Milton, and South Hero.
Yeah,
So are you proposing to add Essex Westford to that grouping?
I wasn't going any further than saying, let's move the islands into a Chittenden-based grouping rather than a Franklin.
Oh, okay.
grouping. And that level of detail we can sort of come back to.
And
I
we
see.
talk- You talk about the islands, you're talking about the islands SU.
I'm talking about Grand Island Supervisory Union, which is all of that, all of the islands.
Which I would say be consistent with the CISA.
It could also be considered, so,
Yeah,
and keeping the SU together.
yeah.
Okay, noted.
I think, as you look at our CISA and grouping map that I have in front of you, what you'll see sort of consistent in our philosophy in doing this was to not break up SUs and and not have CISA boundaries break up SUs, such as they are. It may have happened, but I don't think so. We were trying to be pretty careful about that, and that was our sort of overriding philosophy. And added to that is where kids go to CTE. And I think, in the bill, we continually call out making sure kids have access to CTE. So, for example, I'm not sure how up to date things are with the whole Pain Mountain change, what we have compared to what they have. Like Northfield and Williamstown go to the Randolph CTE by moving them into a merger study group that's mainly central Vermont. Those kids all go to a different CTE. So that's just one of the factors to keep in mind.
Yeah, we got a lot of testimony, a lot of calls about moving Pain Mountain. It's actually in the bill.
Yeah, I think we moved Pain Mountain to where you had it, actually.
Yeah, the very, like, it's very recent.
I think it's it was in the Senate amendment, so I think we moved them to where you had them.
No, I think you moved them into the Winooski Valley region. I'd have to look. Go ahead.
Are you talking group 18?
I think we're losing versions to some degree.
I'm
So there was one grouping change that happened in the final amendment, floor amendment in the Senate. Can you clarify what that was?
And it's reflected in the side by side,
Okay,
right?
Yeah, we moved Pain Mountain into group 18.
Into our 18.
The Senate 18.
Page 28.
You have them.
among others.
One of the challenges there is that this map doesn't have any town names or group names.
This is in team. That came out like that. Yeah.
It's up to date. We could,
I have the whole smaller map. I know which groups and which number of helps.
it's
It's an amendment somewhere.
Green Mountain is in group 9 on yours.
oh, yeah, there is.
Which is on page 27.
Yeah.
Um,
And, much of that was based on, the fact that the kids from those schools all go to, Randolph Technical Center.
Can you move them to group 21 on our map?
No, it's group, we have different
I know.
number of groups, but it's group 18 with Berry, Harwood, Montpelier, Roxbury, Field, and Washington Central.
The other caution I would have with that move is that, that makes a really big merger group. That's, I think it's over 5,000 students at that point.
I mean, I think what we heard was from the senators from Washington County, they didn't like the group that the Senate Education Committee had put them in and asked that they be moved into the Washington County group. I think they had been put in a group that was more with the Northeast Kingdom. So I don't know how they feel about the group that you put them in. It was in one version, they went south, and one version they went north, and I think they wanted to be central.
You're talking, Senate versions, because we didn't put them.
Well, Granville, Hancock, Rochester, that's more south of where they are, I think.
Yes.
And the Senate, originally the Senate had them going more north of where they are. And so they wanted to be more central.
Yeah, I mean, we have them about as central as you can get, just geographically, which is our group 9. And again, trying to, we're trying to sort of call out maintaining access to CTE as well. So, and I do realize this is all largely guidance maps, so
Yeah.
hard and fast is important. And
Do you know where they are on this map?
I can't remember. I know they're in 8.
so I would say that the concern with the changes that you made there, on that part would be probably 2. One is a very large grouping, ADM, and it's sort of a breaking up of having 2 kids heading in different directions for CTU.
Yeah, and yet what we tried to do was sort of pick up on what we got asked to do. Some parents and school boards.
Well, and I do think that both committees received a lot of testimony and feedback from the field, and sought out, I know the House Education Committee sought a lot of feedback from the field and from families and kids on this. Did you all check the number of students per grouping as you were finalizing the map?
Yep, 7,195 and 18.
Yeah, that is.
That's one of the biggest, that may be the biggest. Yeah, it is the biggest. But it doesn't mean they all have to merge into one.
Just speaking of numbers, again, I don't have group numbers for yours.
Right.
But I would just call the county one,
The one,
Franklin County, which would be you combined our group.
what
up here, Big Green, Franklin County.
Green, yeah, okay, that's number 12.
So it looks like we basically combined our group 17 and 18 out of the islands, which it seems like we probably started that. And so I just wanted to ask sort of the motivation for that and what is the sort of ADM for that?
The ADM for group 12 is 9,000. 90, it's small print here, 9,100, I think. So it's also another large one.
Yeah, I mean, is,
We try to, keep the ADM numbers manageable. In the groupings that we did. We're sort of sticking to that, guidance that. Sort of talked about being in the, 2,000 range.
So what is let me see, let me look at yours. So you would have it as,
this
what
is,
are we using?
this.
And we may need to,
They broke it
Yeah.
too.
This is something we can really bog down in, and we definitely need to have John Adams come in and
Yeah.
put it up on the screen, and he can sort of say, this is how many people are here, this is how many people are here.
Yeah, it would be really helpful to have a comparison of what the ADM is, because I would be concerned about having the group so big that they're not manageable for a conversation about a merger.
Yeah, there's two particularly large ones. It's the two we've been talking about,
Yeah,
18 and 12. Otherwise, we're down.
So do we want to see if someone from the GIS office could come in over this afternoon?
Yeah, I think we could,
yeah.
yes, I think we should, but I'll just I'll just quickly go through some of the other, thoughts on this. Our group 12 and 11, which you have combined more or less. The feedback we got is, that's a pretty vast geographic area. It's the east. So folks up there were like, do you know how long it takes to get from Newport to, Canaan?
That gets us to about 11,000 students. I'm sorry, 4,000 students. In 11. An hour 11. And I think, partially it was also to allow more flexibility as to having their work discussions. So
In what way?
well, they don't all have to merge, they wouldn't necessarily have to merge into one, they could merge into two, it's just a little bit more flexibility. And that whole region up there just really seemed to go naturally fit together. That was the rationale for it.
But it naturally fit together in what sense? Operating structures or SUs or?
Well, it's a combination of like districts and they all kind of operate the same, I think. And it's not, I don't think it's a huge deal. I don't think it's a huge deal. We just did it because that was kind of consistent with the testimony we got.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, what you have, like in our group 12, I'm pretty sure they all are K-12 operating systems.
Yeah.
11 is really all over the place.
S6.
You've got, K-12s, you've got 100% non-operating. So that one would be it's going to ultimately be a complex one to combine, but
Yeah,
certainly not possible.
that's a point well taken.
All right. So again, the central part of the state is a big number under yours, and I think there's a CPE split issue that we should think about. Sort of in the southern quadrant of the state, our two are not terribly dissimilar. The sort of bottom part there, our group 5 and our group 6, these were really intended, two things. One is to maintain SUs. who are already working together. Both because they are SUs, but also because they're all part of the same current existing CISA. And so in value, it's also a Vermont Superintendent's Association region as well. So there's a certain amount of consistency of working together. And I think under yours, we're kind of chopping up an SU, like where Dover and Wardsboro are. They're actually part of a different SU that stays in group 6, but you have them moving over here.
They operate differently.
That may be, but they certainly operate differently within the SU that they're already in. And again, it stays within the CISA boundary. It maintains an SU where they're doing things together. I suspect there's a CTE factor as well. So that's just another thing I'm pointing out.
I will say, based on personal experience with merger study committees, if there's an existing relationship through a supervisory, they're much more likely to be successful at merging.
It was kind of our philosophy, trying to maintain SUs as we created these groupings.
And as someone who lives there, I know those conversations are already fairly active in the groupings that the House has followed.
Yeah, this is one we took some testimony on, so
Well,
But we
what
can-
did the testimony say?
the boundaries in the House map were kind of where we had a sense people actually wanted to be. I'm sorry, the boundaries in the Senate map, where we had a sense people wanted to be. But
We always have to struggle with what a few emails and a few pieces of testimony are, do they speak for everybody?
of course we do.
And I think a lot about the sort of what's going to make the process work the best in terms of, what already exists, working within what already exists, both CTE, catchment area and existing SUs and SDs. So anyway,
We'll note that.
yeah. Our group, sure, I guess the sort of the Rutland County area, could you just talk a little bit about the changes you made there? This would be on your light blue section. We're not very different
Yeah, we're
here.
not that different.
And so like there's that little hand thumb going up there. I just can't read what that is.
I think it's non, what town, I'm not sure what town it is.
Middletown Springs.
Yeah, Middletown, logical,
Right.
Middletown, all of them go together logically. And they're in merger discussions, actually. They have been. Makes sense for them to be together, Middletown, Wells, Rupert, and Pelham.
Yeah, I mean, sort of look at the Fulton High School there. Anyway, I don't have any, I don't actually have any,
That's,
just I just wanted to find out what they were at on that.
that's
But
an,
you did not pull in. Oh, there's Wells. And then, got it. Okay, I understand it now.
that's a very logical, single elementary school.
Okay. And let's see, that's the same. Addison County just always is the same.
It's nice to be the easy part of the state.
In, let's see, that's the same. If I'm looking at Chittenden County. Same. So what we have, like, yeah. We're digging on that with some, maybe look at a map with some names on it. I'm not sure I have a whole lot more to say on this.
If we get John,
And texted him and haven't heard back.
okay, and it'd be helpful to put them on the screen so we can float them up, so we can see them.
Yeah.
See how much the size difference is.
Right.
And then also where they overlap with SUs, and existing lines, would be helpful to.
But we would not necessarily lock people in where they are, because this is about movements. We want to be sensitive to that.
Yes.
Abilities.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, a lot of the talk about SUs and, those relationships that exist today as something that you brought up as being very important as well, is, I think, somewhat reflected in our map as well. Just let's keep the SU boundaries together because these are people who are already in the systems together. Okay, I mean, given that, and I don't think we can probably dive into a whole lot more. But I think one sort of fairly factual decision you all can make a point of this publishing, and I'm cease that. Anyway.
And it sounds like we're still talking about Cane Mountain, 1 or 2 in the Kingdom, and then Southeast Vermont. Did that summarize well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I will say, appreciate the attempt to get down to 18 groupings.
Yep.
I think we tried as well, but kept, like, oh, if we put that there, that's gonna explode the number.
Over large.
Yeah.
Did we talk school construction?
Good.
What about have a roll call, by the way?
Yeah.
About what?
I think we could stay with, well, on
I mean, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep on doing
I'm
that.
watching the
I feel
light.
like in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things. Oh, definitely.
Okay. Put together a diagram that on school construction that helped my brain, at least, I think, or I'm hoping will. I'd love to talk through the percentages and how they work. I know yesterday, Senator Hardy, you talked about the districts that had already passed bonds and what scenario they would be in if supplemental district spending didn't pass. And so maybe I'm the only one who needs this diagram, but I desperately need it.
We love visuals.
Okay.
It's gonna have the color, John?
It does.
Well, John's getting settled, Jack here or whatever, just after if you get a screen maybe at this end. To the extent that we can do it. Yeah.
And I texted John Adams, but it might be better to have an official invite. Yeah.
And he has people in the staff who
Yeah.
can send it.
I did make that.
So I'm joining the Zoom now, and I'm John Gray with the Office of Legislative Counsel. I haven't sent this for posting yet, but I can afterward. My computer has decided to freeze. Here we go. So the hope here, oh gosh, I really struggle with the colors. Can you guys tell that those are two different greens?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
There's a big one.
Okay. This looks better on my laptop, and I'd hoped to have more useful headers, but was truly just assembling this. So the idea here is to show the different aid scenarios possible under the different chamber proposals and how those would be covered through district bonding, state bonding, what is different indicative examples of the kind of aid that you might get and how much you would need to bond for locally, and then the kind of aid that you get. So this slide is meant to indicate if you get the minimum aid available under the different proposals, what would that look like if it was in the form of a 100% debt service subsidy? And so on the House proposal, just recall that you have a range of 50 to 95%. So the minimum aid would be 50%. And under the Senate proposal, that range is 30 to 75%. So the minimum aid available would be 30%. So that's what you see here is in visual form, what I just said. And I'm just going to pause on each one so folks can ask questions, because I think it's going to be more helpful to look at it and then ask me things than for me to say to talk about this.
I'm just gonna clarify for me and anybody else that in this scenario, when we were talking about supplemental district spending, it's a different supplemental district spending than the allowables. This is strictly for school construction.
Yes, this is a one-time authorization, unlike the annual, restorative annual.
Or if I say that.
Please don't try to do that.
And so part of what this is trying to show is that when you get your aid package completely in the form of a debt service subsidy, the school district itself will need to bond for the full 100%, right? But then what they're actually covering through supplemental district spending is just 50%.
Oh, okay, that was not clear from the visual.
Okay, I couldn't figure it out.
We talked about cross-hatching, sorry.
Okay.
So the way I understand this is the district has a bond. The way the district pays back the bond is in the House construct, 50% of that bond is paid back through a debt service subsidy from the state, and 50% of that bond is paid back through supplemental district spending. But the district is responsible for the full bond and paying back the full bond.
Yeah, this is the minimum amount without the bonus.
Yep.
Exactly.
The 45% bonus.
Great. And then is the next,
Yep, so just to orient, the first three slides I'll show are all minimum aid scenarios. And they show you if it's 100% debt service subsidy, that's what you see here. They show if it's 100% state bonding support. And then they show if you got a mixed bag, if you got a mixed package that was 50% bonding support, 50% debt service subsidy. In all cases, they're just examples of the kind of aid that you could get. You could get a package with 2575, right? You could get different scenarios. These are just meant to indicate the extremes and the midpoint of the kind of aid that you could receive in a state aid package. So this is if you received the minimum aid exclusively in the form of state bonding support. And you can see that you're getting the light blue, which appears much nicer than the differences in the greens. It reduces the amount that the district is bonding, but if you compare between the two, the supplemental district spending coverage is the same, right? It's still 50% coverage through supplemental district spending on the House side.
What do you want me to win?
I'm good. I'm gonna keep on
And-
with your head.
All right, and this has no debt service subsidy.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
But there is gonna be one that has all three.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
You're going to see the most confusing one there.
Yeah.
This is,
But
yes.
my brain this isn't helpful for my brain. I don't know. It doesn't look. I don't know, the visual, this is not how I visualized what we did in either case.
So I think maybe the last one will
Okay.
be what.
So if you want to see admittedly, I'm also just not good at putting these things together. So that is, I was literally doing it right there. So this is what a mixed package would look like. You get some in debt service subsidy, you get some in state bonding support. And then you're covering some through supplemental district spending.
And so in this scenario, which is, I think, the scenario if like sort of full approvals are met, yes?
Yeah,
Okay. Then. Sorry, Seth, the. Supplemental district spending, in both cases, we have not really figured out the source of that, right? That's a project for next year.
It's supplemental district spending.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry, I meant debt service subsidy, sorry. The debt service subsidy, the revenue source for that, we have not figured that out yet necessarily. It sort of defaults to the ed fund.
Yeah.
The state bonds need sort of approval of, the recommendation of CDAC. But in both cases, I see basically what your proposal is doing, and this is actually what, for whatever reason, I needed this to like have the math add up.
Mhm.
You are putting significantly more sort of pressure on the supplemental district spending than we are, and less pressure on the state.
Yeah, I mean, the way that I was looking at it is less, yes, less pressure on the state, and the district. But still supplementing more than we have now.
Yeah, oh, so much
Way
more.
more than we have now, supplementing what districts are able to get. And that for the most urgent cases,
Mhm.
they would get the bonus points and get a higher level of districts of state aid.
And do you have is there a bonus point scenario here?
these contemplate, so when we go to the maximum, that'll
Okay.
be the next
Oh, this
slide
is-
deck.
Okay, great.
When we go to the maximum aid scenarios, they contemplate getting all of the bonus incentives.
Okay.
Yeah, and the supplemental district spending is equalized so that, there's districts that.
So this is your maximum aid, and this is 0% state bonding support. This is full coverage through a debt service subsidy. So on the House side, that's 95% coverage. The district still needs to bond for the full amount because the aid that's available is exclusively as a subsidy. And then on the Senate side, you see it's a 75% maximum aid, still bonding the full 100% coverage, but that SDS goes up to 25%.
Couldn't there be a maximum scenario? I'm sorry, John,
It's okay.
for the print your diagram, I'm sorry. Couldn't there be a maximum scenario that,
I will have 3 slides for the maximum scenarios. So
okay,
this is just if it's 100% debt service subsidy.
okay. While you guys are going to the floor, if you could just contemplate the idea that first, if someone was to achieve sort of all of the requirements of maximum subsidy, they would essentially be building a building that is in like deep policy service to the state's goals to some degree, that would ideally be reducing costs through scale. Fine.
I'll try to help.